lot of tentative shots. We were lack of confidence what happened lately for us. So I think batters were a little bit tentative at the start. That caused for a few dismissals, and then the other guys are put panic button on, and then suicidal run out. We allowed them to come into the game.
We just have another 2 more days only for the next game. Quick turnaround. What sort of a thing can you tell the players such as Kusal Mendis, Dhananjay De Silva, Angelo Mathews, who have failed both these games? What sort of a mental preparation they need to make?
Yeah, there's very little I can do, but we all know that they're experienced players, and they will certainly learn from this. Learning in the sense they need to understand what went through between their ears at that time. So it's all about trust in their defense at the start. I'm sure if they get a start, especially Angelo and Mendes, will score runs in this tournament.
How much of a worry is it that in the first 2 games it's only really 2 batsmen that have stood up to be counted? You've almost had 2 guys carry their bat throughout the innings. How much of a concern is it going forward against potentially stiffer opposition in terms of setting a target that's defendable or chasing?
It's all depends on the condition. To be honest, the 2 pitches that we got here is not ideal for ODI cricket. For my mind, if you look at the other teams at other venues, that all the wickets look a little more brown or whiter than these one. These are two green wickets. Unfortunately, we lost the toss. We had to bat first. As I said, it's once you get in, it's easy to bat on, but starting is a bit hard. So hopefully we get better pitches for our batters to start.
Who takes credit for picking Pradeep for this game?
I don't care who gets credit. He got wickets. That matters.
Of course. Well, he bowled fantastically well, and Lasith as well with the Yorkers at the end. That's what we've come to expect from him.
Yeah, that's what you expect from Lasith. He's a world-class performer, and he step up when it matters. Nuwan has been really bowling well in the 2 practice game as well. So he actually single-handedly kept us in the game.
What did you make of Afghanistan?
Oh, they're very dangerous side, especially on a tournament like this. Time and time again, they have proved that they can be dangerous. They got really good bowling attack, world-class players. So I think the conditions suited us for our selection. To be honest, we played 5 fast bowlers. I think that helped us.
Coach, the total, did you think it was defendable despite the collapse that you had? Did you think 200 was good enough? And just once more, just what you made of Pradeep's performance, given the fact that he didn't play in the first game. In hindsight, we look back at that now and say, was it a good idea because the conditions seemed to help him and he seemed to really perform well today?
Who is the one you're talking? Yeah. Yes. Then the score is never enough. The way we started, I thought that we end up getting 280, 300. But at the end, a little bit cameo from Lasith Malinga and what's the name? Surangal Akmal got us 20 runs, I think. And then we expected our seamers to bowl well on this wicket because the wicket has a lot of help for the seamers if you hit the deck hard and they hit the seam. But we're disappointed with our batting effort. We have to get better.
Bashir from RTA, your team did really well to defend the total. What does that mean to you and the team going forward in the tournament?
This gives us a lot of confidence because we were really needed a win. We haven't got much success lately. I'm sure you will see a better team, better approach from our team after this win. We need this win badly.
Did you sort of give a pep talk to the team after the way it collapsed in the break, in the rain break? And did that change the momentum a bit, considering that after that it was all Sri Lanka and before that it was all Afghanistan, before the 3-hour break?
I don't give pep talk, I give honest talk. That's all. I tell them what have to be done. There's nothing like that. They have to come and perform. And that's what they did. Our bowlers really step up when it matters. All credit to the four seamers who bowled really well today.
Lasith had given quite a hard-hitting statement to the press in Sinhala just before the game. Did that get through to the team? Did you hear what he had to say? He said, people should stop talking about going forward and just say that you need to feel shame about defeat that was there. So did people hear of it? And
I am not sure, but when you play for your country, there's a lot of pride at stake. They're all hurting. I'm sure about that. They really, really want to perform well for the country. What Lasith said is, whatever he said is that what he believes, and I think all the players get a lot of confidence after this win, for sure.
Any more questions in English?
On Kusal Pereira's performance, just your assessment of Kusal Pereira's performance. We've seen a few knocks of that type, particularly one in February in South Africa. What's your assessment of how he played?
Yeah. He's an amazing player. We have given him the full license to bat the way he wants to bat. We know that when he's come off, most of the time it's match winning. So he's very clear about his role. So that's the way he's going to play. And some games, when you play like that, you come. What happened in New Zealand game? Things like that can happen, but you can't. If you want to get best out of players like that, you have to give them freedom to play the way they can.
Is that a match that you thought you were on course to win a few times?
Pardon?
Is that a match that you thought you were on course to win at a few different times?
Yeah, obviously, but not that much, because we start not well, especially for the bowler sides. So first 10 hours, we didn't bowl on the right area, so we missed something there. But in the middle, so we grabbed and we get it out in 200 something. But they score a lot. It's in this kind of surfaces as too much. But credits go to especially Naib and Rashid and also Hamid, how he bowled. So we missed something in the start.
We talked a lot about your batting so far in this tournament, but those first 5 overs, can you talk us through how that went wrong?
For our side, yeah, especially if you face this kind of teams, they experienced teams, so they played a lot of cricket, especially in England, New Zealand, so they face this kind of wickets a lot. So we missed something, we getting a start. So also I saying one thing to my guys, so just play straight and keep calm in the wicket, so take your time. So maybe they struggle a lot in this kind of surface.
With bowling, what was the wicket like for your bowlers? What was the problem with the wicket?
Yes, wicket is suitable for the seamers. So, but we not bowl on the right areas, especially in the start of the day, start of the innings. So how the batters of New Sri Lankan they played. So I think the bowlers didn't take his responsibility in the start of the day. So maybe we missed there something. Yeah, not too short. Was if you compare this wicket to the Bristol, so it's a difficult wicket. So it's totally different wicket today, because it's a cloudy day, and also in the middle some few 2 hours rain. So the condition like suitable for the seamers, but we especially in the start, the seamers didn't bowl well, I think.
Your own wicket is seen as the one where Sri Lanka looked like they actually got into the game. What did you make of the Sri Lankan bowling performance and how they turned up in terms of when you were batting well after the partnership that you had?
Yes, we missed some wickets, lost some wickets in the start. Then me and Najib just played we just control our nerves and keep calm in the wicket. So we just one thing in our mind, so just play straight and don't go for the runs. So they targeting us because they trying to get wickets. So this is the main thing. And after I think they bowled really well in one line. So credits go to Sri Lankan bowlers how they bowled, especially this kind of surface. So I think credit goes to the Sri Lankan bowlers.
In terms of the extras that you guys gave away, do you think it's a big part of why you've ended up on the losing side today in terms of that discipline early on?
Yeah, definitely. If you look for the total on the board, so we give some 30 runs extras. So, because I said, and we didn't bowl in first 10 hours in the start of the day, so we missed something there. But if we bowl in the start of the day well, so maybe the total is not like this. So they also struggling this kind of, but credit goes to the Naib, how he bowled, especially his spell. He got 3 wickets in 1 hour. So, but we give it a lot of extras. Maybe that's why they scored 200.
South Africa is hit by injuries, many of them, and also they're coming from 2 defeats. So how do you approach such a team, and is it an advantage, or what kind of an approach would it be?
Well, firstly, we're very happy that finally we're going to start playing. It's been a while since we've been here. Secondly, look, injuries are part of the game, and these things can't be predicted. And I'm sure any team that gets hit with injuries is never a good thing, but still South Africa is a very talented, very dangerous side on their day. And even with the replacements, they would be a very strong side. So we never take anyone lightly, and whether a few key players get injured or not, if a youngster is stepping in and he has the right mindset, he can really perform on the day. So I think we need to maintain respect for that and really approach the game focusing on our strengths and what we can do as a side.
Yeah. Finally, you said we starting to play. How does that work? I mean, South Africa playing their 3rd game, India playing its 1st. Most teams have played 2. How do you approach that? Does that work for you? Is that a problem? Is that an advantage that you've seen some of the other teams? How do you look at that?
Well, I think it's a bit of an advantage, I would say, in terms of understanding how the games have gone, what the conditions have to offer, what the overcast conditions bring into play. When the sun's out, it's a totally different ball game altogether. What the conditions are at 10:30 in the morning compared to afternoon, and what is the pace of play when you see other teams playing, and what the approach is. So I think from that point of view, we have a lot to absorb. We have a lot to learn from, looking at the other teams play, the teams that have done well, what have they done well, in what phases. So yeah, I think from that point of view, we would say that we have a lot of positives that we can take out of starting, after everyone else. And yeah, look, whether a team has played before or not, it really wouldn't matter on the day. It depends on how the side turns out, what kind of mental setup they have. And as I mentioned, we would have to be mentally and skillfully stronger than the opposition, whoever we play, to win on the day. So I think our focus will be that.
Virat, I just want to know how Kedar Yadav has been shaping up. He has been practicing. And after Ravindra Jadeja's performance in the 2 warm-up games, what do you think about the spin combination with 3 quality spinners? So what do you think about it?
Look, we selected a side that gives us all kinds of options, depending on the conditions that we're going to play in. Somewhere you might see 3 seamers playing, somewhere you might see 2 wrist spinners, somewhere you might see a wrist spinner and a finger spinner playing together. So that's why we said we probably selected the most balanced side we could have selected. And Kedar's doing well. Kedar's back to full fitness. Kedar's batting in the nets now, and he's hitting the ball well. So it's always nice to have him back in the mix because of the variety he brings into the side. Jadeja's been outstanding as well, understanding his abilities fully, really grabbing all the opportunities that have come his way, especially in Test cricket also. The way he's batting with a lot of maturity now is a great sign for the team. So whenever he steps into the team, we know we have a guaranteed template of performance that Jadeja brings to the side, in the field with the ball and with the bat as well. So I think we have all our options covered. Looking at the pitch now, we will have discussions over what the balanced combination would be, but I think we are equipped to handle all kinds of conditions here.
Virat, here. Hi. This is your 3rd World Cup, but the first World Cup as the captain of the Indian team. How does it feel leading India into the World Cup?
Well, it's a matter of great pride for me, honestly. Playing 2015 World Cup, I never imagined this day, because a World Cup is too far off, to think or predict anything. So I think I'm just feeling grateful that I'm in this position to have the opportunity to lead my country in a tournament like World Cup. It's always going to be a time to remember and a very, very special feeling. So I'm really looking forward to the challenge. It's a different kind of responsibility. You know, you need to be able to absorb a lot more. So I think from that point of view, it's something that is really exciting me to have this kind of a challenge at this stage in my career.
Virat, what have you made of the first week of the tournament from the sidelines, and also what lessons do you take from the Champions Trophy, which was here 2 years ago?
Lessons from the Champions Trophy, I think the lesson is basically to play the cricket that we know how to play. We didn't try anything, you know, drastically different in the Champions Trophy. We just stuck to our strengths, and in the final a better side beat us. But we have plugged a few areas that we needed to. Since then we brought in wrist spinners to take wickets in the middle overs, and that's been the reason for a lot of our success in the last couple of years. So from that point of view, I think we are an even stronger side when you compare the Champions Trophy side. And I think the first week has been a gradual sort of a progress, I would say. A couple of really exciting games, a couple of one-sided games. But there's a lot to learn in terms of composure. I think the teams that have been more composed are the ones that are, you know, winning games and have better chances of doing well in pressure situations. The teams that try a bit too much or, you know, make bad decisions are the ones who are suffering. And that's the kind of pressure the World Cup brings. So, as I said, we need to bring all our experience to the play tomorrow to be able to take right decisions under pressure situations compared to the opposition. And as I said, the team that makes better decisions is invariably going to win in a high pressure tournament like the World Cup.
Virat, you played with...
Sorry.
Oh, sorry. Virat, you played with Dale Steyn at RCB just a couple of weeks ago. What shape was he in? How was he bowling? And how are you sad that he's gone home from the World Cup?
Yeah, I'm really you know, feeling bad for Dale because he looked really happy. He was bowling really well, and then suddenly, you know, we find out that he's not gonna be able to continue. So I feel bad for him because he's been a friend for a long time, and you know, he's a very motivated guy. He's been very happy to come back and play for South Africa. He's been doing really well, and he has that hunger and passion in him still. But you know, those niggles and injuries are just not going his way, and I can understand his frustration about that. I wish him a speedy recovery, but yeah, I mean, of what I saw of him, he was looking in a great mental space. He was very happy. He was enjoying his cricket, bowling really well, getting along with everyone. So I can understand he must be feeling gutted, and I'm feeling bad for him, actually.
Virat, of course, the World Cup has started, but what is this day, the day before India's World Cup campaign begins, what does it feel like for you personally? You've experienced it a couple of times in 2011 and 2015, but is it any different to say, you know, the start of a big test series in England or Australia? What does this day feel like?
You know, honestly, for me, I have this feeling before every game that I play, honestly, and I can't differentiate. It's, yes, if you just say the word World Cup, it brings a different kind of a, you know, feeling to your mind and heart. But I don't think, but apart from that, when you step onto the field, as a cricketer, you really think like you're stepping into a World Cup game. Eventually, you go and play the game of cricket, and that excitement and anticipation and bit of nerves is the right combination that I've always had before every game that I play. 2011, 2015, similar kind of, you know, butterflies in the stomach. Even when you're walking into play in a test match and you're walking in at 10 for 2, you have the same kind of butterflies in your stomach. So I think that is a very consistent factor. And when that starts going down, you know what comes next. So I'm just glad that it's gone on and it's going on, and I'm just feeling excited, anticipation, and you know, a bit of nerves as well, which is always good for any sportsman to have. So yeah, it's pretty similar, I would say, to the past.
Virat, you began the 2011 World Cup with a century in the first game. 15, another century in the first game. Pressure on you because people are also talking about a century here in the first game?
Look, when you perform and you perform for a long time, expectations are always going to be there, and I sort of understood how to go along with the expectations rather than saying, you know, I'm not you actually don't go out there to prove anything to anyone, which is a fact. But you have to accept that expectations are going to be there. When I walk out to bat, come down the stairs, people are going to say, we need 100, and all those kind of things will happen. So for me, that's just a part of the process now. It's not something that I don't want to hear, or something that I think people should not tell me, because when you do well, people obviously want to see you do well again and again, because they want to see the team win. So my focus is, again, if I'm in a position to be able to do that again, but more importantly, make the team win, that will be my goal. And if it takes 100 runs, 150, 50, 60, 70, 40, whatever it is, I'm ready to do that. And I think that's the frame of mind I'm going to be in.
Virat, 10:30 start, and obviously there's so much talk about conditions which keep changing throughout the duration of a day. So what are the challenges of arriving at the right combination, especially the bowling combination, when you sit down at the start of the match to decide?
Well, look, if the conditions offer you a lot in terms of the pitch, yeah, a cloud cover is, we know it's a very, very different situation in England when there's a cloud cover and when there's sun out. With 2 new balls, if the pitch has something to offer, then an extra seamer comes into the play big time. But even on a good pitch, on a batting friendly pitch with 2 new balls, I foresee at least the first 10 overs to be still challenging if there's a cloud cover, because we're playing in England and the ball tends to do a bit more than any other place in the world. So I think it will definitely be challenging, starting at 10:30 in the morning for the batsman, and that's something that we've discussed and we've recognized how to go about it. What are the plans, heading into being a bit more solid in that particular phase. And from the bowling point of view as well, even if we play with 2 spinners, 2 seamers or 3 seamers, they are going to be in the game in the first half if we start at 10:30. So I think the dynamics will change from morning to afternoon big time, and the bowlers will have to adapt very quickly to that.
We'll be taking final few questions. Virat, can you talk about the growth as a captain since 2017 World Cup? I ask only because I don't know if you would agree, World Cups define the legacies of a captain. Do you think this will be your toughest assignment as a captain?
Yeah, looking at the length of the tournament and the format of the tournament, yes, it will be tough for any captain, including myself, playing 9 games. It's a long tournament, you're playing every side once, and you have to think on your feet. You have to adapt very quickly. It's not a bilateral or you're not playing a team twice where you can play them once and plan again and come back and play again. So you have to be precise. You have to think on your feet. On that day, make good decisions and stay ahead of the 8 ball. So from that point of view, yes, it will be a very, very challenging tournament, and as I said, something that I'm really looking forward to. Look, I mean, it's very gradual. I mean, the errors you would make when you're not that aware of game situations, they will slowly start to taper off as you play more and more cricket. So I think what happens also is when you have experienced people in your team who have also grown with you as cricketers, eventually you all start making good decisions. You have discussions, you think of the right things. Sometimes instinctively I would want to do something which I will stick to. Sometimes you go and discuss. So I think it's important to find the right balance. No one can make all good decisions or right decisions all the time. So important to try and make the right decision, but own up to your mistakes and accept the errors as well. So, which I think gradually with time, everyone sort of understands that process well, which also is happening to me slowly.
We'll have 3 questions in English followed by Hindi.
During the Australian series in January, during the Australian series, you had said where we erred was overs between 30 to 40. Especially when you're batting first, we are not getting the 20 to 30 runs more. So that probably comes down to your number 4 and number 5. So what are your plans and how are you addressing that 30 to 40 and your number 4, number 5? Because you identify them slightly later than ideally. What are the communication you're given to is KL, Rahul, or whoever, but that 30 to 40 and number 4.
Look, from a batting group point of view, it'll be very important to understand which guy is on a roll on that particular day, and the other guy has to play second fiddle. I mean, that acceptance has to be there when you're playing for a team goal. You can't try and match a guy who's striking at 120 if you're not striking it as well. So you need to be able to rotate strike and play in a partnership, and that's what partnership's all about. And then if the other guy gets out or you get out, then you sort of understand and switch roles if need be. So I think that's going to be key in the World Cup. I don't think 30 to 40 is going to be such a big factor in a tournament like the World Cup, because if you try and accelerate too much, people are losing 5-6 wickets in a bunch. So I think the teams that play more solid cricket in the middle overs, if the pitch allows you to score at 7-8 and over, that's a different thing. But if the pitch is not as batting friendly, and if you try and take advantage of 30 to 40 and you lose 4 wickets, then you're out of the game anyway. I think the team that plays more solid cricket, more percentage cricket, are the ones who are going to go a long way in the tournament and have better chances to succeed. And as I said, it boils down to making good decisions with the bat and with the ball.
Kagiso Rabada had some disparaging comments about you personally. I don't know if you saw them. And how do you use that as motivation for your battle against him? And now with Dale and Kagiso, Lungi out, are you looking to target KG tomorrow as the main strike bowler?
What did he say?
I
have no idea.
He said that you were immature. I think it was in the context of the IPL and your battles with him.
Well, I've played against Kagiso many times, and I think if anything needs to be discussed, we can discuss it man to man. I'm not using a press conference to, answer anything or anything.
Okay, well, on to the second question. With Lungi Ngidi out...
Look, whether Ngidi plays or Steyn plays or not, Rabada is always going to be a world-class bowler and a threat to any side he plays against, because he has the kind of passion and he has the kind of skill set that he can, on his day, go through any batting order. So we played well against him in the past, and that's only been because we've been respectful of his skills, but at the same time we've been assured and sure of what we want to do as batsmen. So I think against guys like Rabada, who are on their day, as I said, can turn up and bowl outstandingly well, you have to be respectful but have that self-belief in yourself as well, and that balance will be very crucial. Whether he plays with Dale and Ngidi or by himself, he's always going to be a skillful bowler. So we always need to respect that and then find ways of scoring against him.
Virat, you have spoken about the importance of wrist spin going in this tournament. So specifically, how are you seeing the progress of Kuldeep following that horrible outing in the IPL? Do you think the second spell he bowled in the warm-up game against Bangladesh, when he took 3 for 22, is going to be very important for his confidence?
Look, personally, I would tell you something. I've had great IPL seasons, and I've entered playing for the country, and I felt like, I feel like I'm just gonna dominate this tournament so much, and then you can't put bat to ball. So every tournament, every game that you play has no connection to what you've done in the past. You can only take out the positives and the learnings and take it to the next tournament or game that you play. And whether you've done well in the IPL or you haven't, you still have to work hard. And to me, IPL has no connection to the World Cup. Mentally, skill-wise, yes, if you've played well, you want to stay in the same zone, probably look to do the same things. But he's a guy who's done so well in the last 2 years. I don't think 3-4 games of a T20 tournament will do anything to harm his confidence or hamper his confidence. We know when he pitches the ball in the right areas, the batsman has to make better decisions, otherwise, you're walking out. So that's been his strength. And he's back to bowling at his best. We saw that in the second game. In the nets, he's bowling really well, attacking the stumps all over again. His variations are spot on. He's pitching the ball in the right area. So I see batsmen having to take better decisions against Kuldeep rather than the other way around.
Just before the start of the tournament, when all the captains met, I don't know whether you made that comment very seriously or not, that England is capable of scoring 500 runs. And we have so far seen that 300 plus runs is almost a must. So have you discussed this matter with your teammates, that any target have you given that 350 we have to reach for any game?
Look, as I said, if the pitch allows you to do that, you will want that 20-30 run advantage. But if the pitch doesn't allow you to do so, I think we'll have to respect the conditions also, which will be a very, very crucial factor. We can't say just because a few games have been high scoring that we need to go out and necessarily get 350. If the pitch demands us to get solid 260, 270, 280 or just get to 300 with our bowling attack, we know with our bowling attack, any score is defendable with the kind of skill set that we have, and that's the kind of belief we have in our side. So we don't necessarily need to look at any other side. Based on the conditions, if you look at the last game, Pakistan got close to 350 and England couldn't chase it. So it's not like, Pakistan couldn't get 350. Only England got 350. So any team is capable of scoring big. It only depends on the kind of wicket you're playing at. So I think that will be a thing that we need to assess quickly.
And that 500 runs that you mentioned
Well,
that in England.
it's quite possible. Why not? They've gone past 400. I don't know what the highest score was. I don't know the number. But I doubt we'll see that in the World Cup, to be honest, because, as I said, pressure is a big factor. But maybe in future, who knows? I mean, you see crazy things happening in cricket. Who imagined, 400 plus in a 50-over game ever? So, yeah, anything can happen in this sport. It's only evolving, and there'll be a lot of surprises in future, I think. Well, I think the flexibility would matter in the bowling setup is how we foresee things. The batting lineup will have to be consistent because in a long tournament, guys who get into a groove or guys who you think can win you games and they haven't got off to the starts that we want them to, they'll probably get there at some stage. But I think with matchups in terms of playing against if they're more left-handers, then the bowling combination can alter a little bit, which we have discussed in the team. That's why we've kept a team that has balance, and we want to be very flexible in terms of what we play as a bowling combination on the day, and everyone's mentally ready to make a mark. So that sort of message has been given within the team, and guys have accepted it. They understand that they will have to play certain roles at different stages in the tournament, and I think that flexibility is going to be crucial. It's going to be key because you can't be rigid in what you want to do as a bowling group and then do everything accordingly against every opposition. So I think we'll have to be flexible in terms of who we play against whom.
Final question. विराट इधर.
हाँ जी.
विराट, तैयारी तो पूरी हो चुकी है, हमने देखा है, लेकिन 11 की बात अगर हम सोचें तो टीम का माहौल खुश और रिलैक्स रहना ये कितना इम्पोर्टेंट है और अभी का माहौल के बारे में आप क्या कहोगे?
बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट है सर. टीम में स्पिरिट बहुत ही अच्छी है. हम लोगों ने एक टीम बॉन्डिंग एक्टिविटी भी करी थी 2-3 दिन पहले. वहाँ भी सब इन्वॉल्व थे, सब खुश थे, आपस में हंसी. एक अच्छी चीज़ ये है कि हम लोग आईपीएल में अगर अलग जाते भी हैं तो आईपीएल में भी एक जो कमराडरी है, एक जो फ्रेंडशिप, हमारी दोस्ती है आपस में, वो देखने को मिलती है. कभी आप देखेंगे नहीं कि टीम के जो लोग हैं उनके आपस में कुछ आर्ग्यूमेंट हुआ या कोई हम लोग सिर्फ एक ही चीज़ को लुक फॉरवर्ड करते हैं कि वापस इंडियन टीम के लिए मिल के कब खेलेंगे. तो आई थिंक वो एक जो एक्साइटमेंट रहती है साथ में खेलने की, हम हमेशा उस चीज़ को वी लुक फॉरवर्ड टू इट. और जब भी हम आपस में आते हैं, सबकी आपस में अच्छी दोस्ती है, तो ऐसा कुछ बोलने का ज़रूरत ही नहीं पड़ती टीम में कि ऐसे माइंडसेट में रहना है या ये करना है. अपने आप ही इनपुट्स आते हैं कि हम ये कर सकते हैं. अब यंगस्टर्स भी खुल के बोलने लगे कि हम ये कर सकते हैं टीम के लिए, हम वो कर सकते हैं. तो आई थिंक वो एक जो रिलैक्स्ड एटमॉस्फेयर है वो बहुत ज़रूरी है, जो हमने लास्ट 2-3 साल में बहुत अच्छा क्रिएट किया ड्रेसिंग रूम में, सबकी मेहनत की वजह से. और वही हमारा एक जो यूएसपी या फिर हमारा एक्स फैक्टर जो रहा है टीम का, वो वही है कि हमारा एटमॉस्फेयर बहुत अच्छा है ड्रेसिंग रूम में. और इस टूर्नामेंट में और भी क्रूशल होगा क्योंकि लंबा टूर्नामेंट है. जैसे मैंने बोला, अप्स एंड डाउन्स होंगे, साथ में रहना बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. और टीम स्पिरिट अभी काफ़ी अच्छे.
The morale must be high in the team, but with the first win out of the way, I think would you say that New Zealand is coming to Bangladesh at the perfect time with having beaten South Africa?
Yeah, I think first of all, whilst we were very happy with the victory over South Africa, we all recognise that that's just one game, and we've got another 8 to go. So it was one we could tick off as a victory, but we didn't want to get too carried away. And we know the people back home are delighted and obviously jumping up and down with what we've done in beating South Africa. But the team and the staff, they know that the task is going to be tough against some of these teams. And New Zealand are just one of those sides. They gave us a decent hiding this winter, and we're hopeful that we are in better shape. The answer is we are in better shape taking them on this time round. But they're a tough opposition, like many of the top 4 or 5 teams in the world, and it'll be difficult.
The 2017 game, would that play in your mind, would play in the players' mind as well, because it was a comeback?
Yeah, I think it's good memories, and all memories that are good for your confidence, and a lot of them will be repeating, those that day. And thankfully, we've got quite a few players who were involved in that day, so they'll share those memories with the other guys.
Steve, you didn't have a training yesterday, and probably today the training is going to be hampered for the weather. So how do you approach the match preparation-wise, and how important is going to be the mental preparation?
Well, when we have, we needed to have a break yesterday. We had a tough game, and as typical in England, you cannot guarantee the weather. I think it was meant to be okay, but it's curtailed or frustrated us a little bit now with the wet weather around. But thank goodness for Ireland. Thank goodness for going over to Ireland and playing some cricket and getting used to Northern Hemisphere conditions. And thank goodness to the little camp we had in Leicester, as well as our preparation for the games. So what I'm really meaning is, if preparations weren't as good as they have been, then we would have been worried about a lack of cricket today. So we're not that worried. Thankfully, most of the boys are in reasonable nick, and mentally, I think that's a good thing. If they know they're in good condition, then they'll be ready for the game tomorrow.
Couple of questions, Steve. Firstly, when you joined Bangladesh, was this the start that you're looking for at the World Cup? Because your team is quite big on making starts, whether it's whether they're batting first or bowling first or a first game. And secondly, what does a coach add to a team which is quite experienced right now? You have players who've played 200 matches, and you have a number of experienced players. So what can you add to this setup?
Okay, so I'll go the wrong way around. I'll go the second question first, and then you'll remind me of the first question, because I'll forget. But secondly, yes, we've got some very experienced players in the dressing room who've played many international ODIs and have played many times in England. And it would be wrong for me to dictate to those sort of players. They know their game very, very well. They know international cricket very well. So I'm here to support, enhance what they've got, make sure we stay on the right track, and have a little bit of English experience behind some of the suggestions. And we are lucky. We've got a vastly experienced squad, played many internationals, and I'm happy for that. I think the balance is good. And people keep telling me I'm a novice at world events, cricket events, and they keep telling me that we need experience. Well, we've got experience, and I think the mistake we could make, if we did make a mistake, it would be trying to dominate the experienced guys. Let's listen to what they've got to say. Let's pick their brains and make sure that we get every ounce of experience going into our decision making and how we play and who we play.
And about what you might have thought on the first day of the job.
Okay, yes, yeah. Well, the first day on tour was a 46 all out, as everybody keeps mentioning in a test match. But no, I think it's been a really interesting year. I'm very happy with our cricket. It was very important for me not to change what we were doing a lot, really. I think we were starting to make some really good strides with white ball 50 over cricket, and to have a new new coach come in and try and dominate in a different fashion, well, that's not going to work. So my role was to have a good look at what we were doing well, try and enhance that even more. But I think maybe the important thing, what I've been trying to do with the team, is to give them responsibility and let them go out there and make those decisions for themselves, because they learn a lot from those decisions going right and going wrong. And Bangladesh cricket then will be in a better position going forward, and that's the senior guys as well as the younger guys as well. Let them enjoy their successes and failures and learn from them, and that's been the way I've been approaching my coaching with Bangladesh.
That win over South Africa surprised a lot of people, but does that change your target for this World Cup in any way?
No. First of all, the win over South Africa, I mean, I came to the England-South Africa game. I watched every ball bowled, scouted it. I was delighted with the surface, what I saw, and I was delighted when I couldn't really see another pitch cut out, and I had a hunch that we might be playing on the same pitch. When I found that out the next day in practice, I was delighted. I thought that was a great opportunity for Bangladesh to try and take South Africa. We needed them to maybe have a slightly off day and us play very well, and that sort of thing happened on the day. It'll be a really big challenge tomorrow against New Zealand on a fresh pitch, but and a more difficult challenge than South Africa was on that pitch. Has it changed our sort of goals? Well, we know we need to get so many wins to qualify. We're not bothered who the wins come against. We've just got to make sure we get those wins, and they'll all be difficult. You know, New Zealand will be difficult. South Africa was difficult, but we managed to pull that one off. So the goals remain the same. We just want to try and take every game as it comes. I know it's a cliche, but you can't get too far ahead and think too far ahead. We've just got to get wins on the board, and whatever game comes up, the objective is to try and win that game.
Steve, how have you gelled the team in the wake of the Christchurch mosque attacks, and has it liberated the players in the way that they approach the game?
Well, I've got so much respect for the players. The way that they've handled themselves after that event, the way that they've got themselves through it all. They're just celebrating Eid now, the end of Ramadan, and that's been tough for many of the boys. But I think it helps. In many ways, the Christchurch awful day and the shootings, it seems to have, they've got some sort of brotherhood there now. They've shared with other Muslims who sadly perished that day, but the experience they went through together on that coach, and I think it somehow gelled them, and I think that, you know, they've actually got solace from each other. They've tried to help each other through it, and, you know, I've got a lot of respect and admiration for the way they've pulled through, because you know, there's a lot of smiley faces at the moment, and going back to that day in Christchurch, you know, I was thinking, how do we get a team back together after this? But they've done it. It's not been anything special from me. I've just tried to carry on as normal because I thought that was the right thing to do. And the support that they've given each other has been the main thing. I think it would have been a big mistake to make such a big thing of it. I think that they knew what they needed to do, and I've been there just to carry on as normal. And as I said before, I've got a lot of respect for them for how they've got through it all.
Steve, as you mentioned that the match against New Zealand will be very difficult. As we have heard, the next match will be in a very new pitch, and the weather could remain like gloomy and foggy, and there could be a wind. If it is like that, there should be some swings from the New Zealand pacers. So it will be more difficult to handle if the weather stays like that.
Yeah, I think we shouldn't get too carried away with the weather. I think we know that New Zealand have got a couple of little chinks in their armour as a 50-over side, but they're a very good 50-over side as well. We've had a very good team meeting back at the hotel before we arrived here, and we aim to try and maximise those weaknesses, but every team's got strengths, every team's got weaknesses, and we have too, and they know them, and they'll be trying to expose our weaknesses, but I'm not too worried about the weather coming into play or anything like that, but I just hope that we can get in a situation where we can expose their Achilles heel.
Last three questions. Following up on that, what do you regard as this New Zealand team's biggest strengths, and how are you planning to counter them? Well,
Their strengths for everybody to see. I'm not going to go into detail about what we perceive as their weakness, but they're a wicket-taking bowling unit. Trent Boult has been very good with the new ball, so he's a guy that we need to have a good day against, but we are capable of doing that with our batting lineup. They've got some wicket-takers throughout the innings with the ball, and they're an excellent fielding side. They're playing a nice, relaxed manner with confidence. So those are the strengths, and you know, that's why they're ranked where they are in international cricket, and at the moment doing very, very well. Their batting, you know, somebody like Kane is important to them. He's a glue that holds the innings together. So and also their attacking players at the top of the order and around Kane Williamson. Those are the type of guys that that would like to try and take the game away from the opposition. So those are their strengths. Probably didn't need me to tell you that. Everybody else in the world knows that as well.
Steve, coach, are you staying same 11 against New Zealand or need to change?
No, I don't tell the media what 11 we're going to play with. I just see it crazy as giving too much away to the opposition, and I can't tell you anyway because we're about to have a selection meeting, so I can't give you that answer.